Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law, where, as always, we learn from those misfortunes of others. Because I know stuff. Anyways, she's apparently trying to claim journalistic privilege. I'm not even going to begin to get into whether or not she does or does not have journalistic privilege. As I sort of indicated in my stream with Charlotte on the web when we were discussing this, journalistic privilege is all over the map in terms of its degree of existence. Not every place recognizes it at all. Some places that recognize it don't recognize it for all people. Some only recognize it for more formalized outlets, and some only recognize it to this degree, or some only recognize it to that degree. Journalistic privilege is all over the map. So does she have journalistic privilege? I don't know. I guess I could go read the statute and try to figure out whether or not she squeezes in the statute or not. When you're asking a question like, is Katie Joy a journalist for the purpose of the journalistic shield statute, we got to go read that statute. We got to go read it carefully, and we got to go read the case law, because unlike basically of any other privilege in existence, where it is more or less uniform across the country, not to say it's completely uniform, but I can give you a generalized rule. In journalistic privilege, I'm just throw out my hands and be like, I don't know, because it's all over the map. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, I don't know. Journalistic privilege is all over the map. All over the map. The federal system doesn't recognize it at all, by the way, incidentally, just in case you're curious. Right? The federal government does not have journalistic privilege. It doesn't exist. Read the statute. Okay. I'll pull up the statute and I'll try to interpret it on the fly. This will be fun. All right. So let's look up the Minnesota statute on journalistic privilege and try to interpret this on the fly, which is dangerous because case law might dominate over this. So we're going to try to interpret this on the fly without looking at case law, which is just incredibly dangerous. Especially, again, in this particular area, it's dangerous because it's so all over the map and so unsettled, right? Normally reading a statute on the fly, I wouldn't get quite this nervous about, but this area of law is new, all right? It existed basically since yesterday, as far as the law is concerned, so no one knows what the hell's going on, so it's a little bit dangerous to start talking about it. Let's read what the statute says. That's probably a pretty good place to start. So this apparently is the Minnesota Free Flow of Information Act. In order to protect the public interest and free flow of information, the news media should have the benefit of substantial privilege, not to reveal sources of information or disclose unpublished information. To that end, the freedom of press requires protection of confidential relationship between news gatherer and the source of information. The purpose of this section is to ensure and perpetuate, consistent with the public interest, the confidential relationship between news media and its sources. Okay. Except as provided in some subsection, no person who is or has been directly engaged in gathering, procuring, compiling, editing, or publishing of information for the purpose of transmission, dissemination, or publication to the public. That sounds pretty broad. I mean, that's pretty broad language, right? That's just basically all the people, right? This is why Katie Joy calling herself a journalist or not is kind of neither here nor there. Does it say journalists? No. It says no person. That's pretty broad language. That seems pretty broad to me. That seems pretty broad. That's a lot of protection. Now we have some exceptions. Let's see if the exceptions swallow the rule, because sometimes that'll happen too. See, right away we run into problems. Right away we run into interpretation problems. Right away we run into interpretation problems. What do you mean? We have legislative drafting problems, people. Great work, legislature. That's just great news. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means, incidentally, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know what that means either. That sounds also pretty broad, which I have no idea what that means. So what the hell are we talking about? I don't know what that means. I mean, that sounds like pretty open to a wide range of interpretations. Holy shit. That's somewhat helpful. Yeah, that sounds pretty loosey-goosey too. I still not sure what to do. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? That sounds unbelievably broad. I mean, because that's so open. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Hey, there's horrible legislative drafting. I continue not to know what that means. What the hell does that mean? There's no journalistic privilege in the First Amendment context. The federal government doesn't recognize it. So what does that mean? What the hell is that? Does the legislature even know what they think they mean? Because I don't know what they mean. I got no clue what they mean. What the hell is that? How am I supposed to interpret that? No Sherlock. Ding, 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 ding. What? I guess Okay. Yeah, I mean, all right, fine. Really? See, this is again where things just get so fucked. Which I'm just going to go ahead and simplify radically by telling you that there's no privilege in the federal system. You can drive a truck through that. You can drive a truck through that. What we have learned from reading the statute on the fly is that Minnesota can't legislate. Minnesota's legislature sucks. The legislature can't write. Legislates. Their principal job in life is to write legislation, and they suck at it. Because how the f*** am I supposed to get this right? It's a fucking mess. Does Katie Joy have privilege? I don't know. I don't know we're any closer to answering that question than we were when we started the exercise. I'm not sure we learned anything of value. She might, maybe, could be, not sure. So if whether or not Katie Joy Paulson has journalistic privilege is an exercise best left to the judge in the case, and who knows.